In the last video, we were talking about primarily how to write sixths and sevenths. Here we're going to identify a seventh and then identify a sixth. First of all, we have B going up to A. We're in the bass clef. We know it's a seventh because if we start with B and we count up, we get B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That's 7. We started with the B is 1, A is 7. So we know that's some kind of a seventh. Now we're going to determine, is it a major, a minor, an augmented, or a diminished seventh? And as I've told you, most often sevenths and sixths are either major or minor, especially in our class. So we could count up the whole steps and half steps and know that a major seventh is 11 half steps and a minor seventh is 10 half steps from the top note to the bottom note, or the bottom note to the top note. Or, and that's a little bit confusing, we could think, what is the key signature for B major? And we know that the last sharp is A sharp, so we know that there's a sharp in the key of B major, and so a major seventh would be A sharp, and what we have here is an A natural. So that's half a step smaller, half step lower than an A sharp, so it's half step closer to B than A sharp would be, and so it's a minor seventh. The other thing that we can do is look at the inversion, and we take that B and move it up so that it's above the A, and then we can see quite clearly A to B going up when they're next to each other. That's a major second because that is a whole step. So if that's a major second, we know that a major interval when it's inverted becomes a minor, and so therefore this is a minor seventh. So look, we looked at 3 different ways to look at these intervals, and you can use one as your primary and then one as your check yourself. So let's say that you use the inversion method to determine what the interval is, and then you can use the major scale method to double check. Okay, let's take a look at this with D going up to B flat. Take a second there and figure out, is that a sixth or a seventh? And yes, it's a sixth, so we go from D, E, F, G, A, B, the generic interval is a sixth. And now the question is it a major sixth, a minor sixth, or something else? So we're going to look up there, and we know that a minor sixth has 4 whole steps, or 8 half steps, and a major sixth has 9 half steps and 4.5 whole steps, and that is hard for me to remember, but you could count those up and see. The easier thing for me would be to take that D and to put it up above the B flat like this, and then we see that's a third, remembering that an interval and its inversion within an octave always add up to 9, so you take 6 and subtract it from 9, you know the inversion will be a 3. And then it's quite easy to see that B flat up to D is 2 whole steps, and so that's a major third. So really, as long as you can remember up through how many whole steps are in a tritone, which is 6, and then remember all the intervals of an augmented fourth and below, you're good. So that's a major third, so this would be a minor sixth. The other thing that we could have done would be to think, well, in D major, what kind of a B is there? And we know that in D major, there is a F sharp and a C sharp, and everything else is natural. That's a B flat, so D up to B natural would be a major sixth, because remember, in a major key, or in a major scale, from the tonic to every other note in the scale, the interval is either major or perfect, and only the fourths and fifths are perfect, everything else is major. So D up to B natural would be a major sixth. This is a half a step lower than that, so that's a minor sixth. So you use all those, one of those methods as your primary method, and then pick another one as your check yourself method, and you'll be fine. Have fun.